Nearly there. Hi, everyone. This is Margaret Hershey at Home with Hershey's, and thank you for joining us for our wellness talk today. And boy, are you in for a treat. We really always hope to teach you more than you ever knew. We're sharing this live on Facebook, so if you've got any comments, please, those of you who are on the Zoom call, tell us who you are, put all your details in the chat so you know, I mean, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. That makes a difference today. And those of you joining on Facebook now, I really hope you're going to enjoy this chat. It's something very different. And we always talk about our 5 senses, and we always see and we can hear and we go all those, but smell, that's something that we don't talk about that much. You know, it's an unknown thing. You don't tell people they smell funny. You don't, something you don't discuss, you know. And so, well, I want to tell you, we're going to be talking about that today. So it's going to be very, very different. So thank you so much to my co-hosts, Stacey and Jess, who are hosting with me today. And we've got 2 amazing guests for you. So Stacey, come on in.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. So exciting. So Marion is one of our guests, along with Dominique. So thank you so much for joining us today. Marion is a mom of 2, a remedial reading specialist, and an avid advocate of essential oils. She loves using essential oils every day to support and uplift her family's physical and emotional well-being. After experiencing the incredible benefits of essential oils firsthand, Marion now shares and educates other families on how essential oils can benefit them too. I, for one, am incredibly excited for today because I've seen the amazing effects of essential oils on my family. My cousin has got 2 autistic children, and using essential oils has changed their lives. So I'm so excited to hear from Marion and Dominique. Thank you so much. Marion, on to you.
Thank you, Stacey, and thank you so much for inviting us to your Monday session. And it's wonderful to see so many faces and people here. And I'm going to just quickly introduce Dom, who's going to be presenting with me. So Dom is also a mum to a 7-year-old Griffin. She was a pregnancy yoga teacher and owned Yummy Baby and Kids in Parkhurst in Johannesburg. Dom is one of the first people to bring doTERRA essential oils to South Africa in 2020 and became a doTERRA South African founder and has the first diamond team. And now she lives in Ballito. She's moved to the coast and now empowers others to use doTERRA in their homes full-time, just like she does. So we're going to chat to you guys about essential oils and what essential oils are, what they do, why we use them. And there are many essential oils out there. You can buy essential oils, it seems like, all over the place. You can buy them on the shelf at different places, different shops. And so we want to really think about mindfully choosing the essential oil, because what you put into your body and what you put onto your body and what you inhale is extremely important. And I'm sure we're all of the same mindset. We're all mindful of what is going into our bodies to benefit us and those that we love in our family. So having said that, that is why Dom and I choose doTERRA essential oils. Okay, and we'll explain why in a minute. But what is an essential oil? Just for those of you who don't know, essential oils actually come from a plant or a tree, and in fact, it's the plant's immune system. Isn't that interesting? So if a plant or a tree gets attacked, by disease or whatever the case is, they will use their essential oil sac to protect itself and bring themselves back to balance. So if you take an essential oil, what you are basically doing is using the plant's immune system to back up your own immune system. So for me, it's always incredible. Every time I think about that, it just blows my mind, because plants are natural, we are natural. So our body recognizes the essential oils as they come into our system and helps the body get back to balance. And that's what we're all striving for, whether it's emotional balance or whether it's physical balance. That's what you want. So that's why we use essential oils. So because there are so many essential oils out there, we're going to really focus on making an empowered choice. Okay, why we choose doTERRA essential oils. And it's good to have knowledge, because that's where your empowerment comes from. Not being like a passive receptor of, okay, I'm not feeling great, so let me go and get X, Y, and Z because that person said I should, and then I'll take it for X amount of time and great, I'll feel better. But then in a little bit of time, you're feeling the same way again. So that's not empowerment. We want to know how it works so that our bodies can build up. And we're going to shift mindsets, I really hope. So going from the passive to the empowered. So we're going to talk about doTERRA a little bit and why that essential oil really is actually set apart from other essential oils. And three main things. The one is that they are absolutely pure. They're 100% pure, guys. So whatever's in your bottle is only, for example, lemon or lavender or lemongrass, whatever you've chosen, pure. We know this because doTERRA tests their essential oils, vigorous tests, and you can actually, don't have to take my word for it. You can actually go to a website called Source to You. There's a number on the bottom of every doTERRA bottle, and you pop it in there and it will tell you where your oil has come from, what place in the world, because essential oils for doTERRA essential oils are tapped from the place the plant grows to its optimum, so where it thrives. So imagine that, guys. If the plant is thriving, like the lavender in Bulgaria, imagine the essential oil is thriving in that plant, and then you get that essential oil and you put it in your body. So you start thriving. It's tested, it's pure, and therefore it's so effective. And I'm going to hand over to Don to tell us why we use it and how we use it.
Thanks, Marion. So Marion introduced me. She said I was a pregnancy yoga teacher. Well, I was a pregnancy yoga teacher that couldn't fall pregnant. Can you imagine? And so that is actually how I started this journey. And the journey for me started because I had unexplained infertility. My body was medically ticking all the boxes, but there was something that was disrupting how it was working, my hormones. And so I started this journey to go a little deeper in figuring out what in our environments can affect us and how our brain, and this is where, as you mentioned, smell. We don't think of it as often as that sense. It's a little bit in the background. So if I just share this one little bit visual with you. So when we inhale something, be it an aftershave, a perfume that your granny used to wear, or an essential oil, it is actually the nasal cavity connected to the olfactory bulb is actually our closest link to the limbic part of our brain. In 2 seconds, when you inhale something, it can affect the way that the brain is functioning. And so that was the most interesting idea to me, because when I was first introduced to essential oils, I thought they were just things that you put in your bath and they made your house smell nice. But I didn't realize how much effect they could have on the way that the body functions. So as a pregnant woman, as a woman trying to get pregnant, I had gone on a journey of what was I putting in my body and how were the other things I was inhaling in my home affecting my body. And this is where my empowered, as Marion has talked about, informed choice came from. I realized that the essential oil companies, or industry, should I say, was so closely linked to the fragrance industry. And so getting really specific about what we're inhaling, that the cleaning products in my home, while they were effective in keeping my home clean, what were they doing to how my brain was functioning? And then the other people in my home. Now I have a 7-year-old, and it becomes even more important, like when they are at home and they are needing to focus on school, what am I surrounding them with in my home that can really help them to be more focused, or wake up in the morning, or go to sleep at night. And this is the beauty of using pure essential oils, in that depending on which oil we use, which plant we use, that will go straight to the limbic part of the brain, and in less than 2 seconds, shift how the brain is functioning. Now, when I work with a lot of families that are looking to help with concentration, or that mind that's so busy and they can't keep focused at school, what I love about essential oils is they are not getting in the way of the body. So when we think for this call on mindfulness and thinking about what we are focusing on, using oils that doesn't dull down those active thoughts. Using medicine when we have those overactive thoughts will dull down everything. It just can't distinguish between what are creative thoughts and what are repetitive, disruptive thoughts. What I love about using oils, for instance, lavender. We all know lavender is a calming oil, but lavender is not actually a sedative. Lavender is actually clarifying, so it clears the thoughts. And when we inhale it, it's taking that disruptive neural pathway and just redirecting it to a calmer, more clear thought. And every time we use it, it redirects and it redirects and it redirects until that thought pathway becomes a more solid go-to. I work with lots of moms who have postpartum repetitive thoughts. So I work in the maternity area, and they are looking for something that won't dull down all their personality, but rather support them when they go into that repetitive thoughts loop, if you like. And so what I love is they say, you know, will I become addicted to this oil that I'm really enjoying for what it's doing? And it's so nice to be able to explain, every time you feel that repetitive thought, when you inhale the essential oil, and they would take it in a roller like this and place it down their forearms, rub it together, deep inhale, and instead of it dulling down that repetitive thought, all it's doing is helping to redirect it into a more grounded, more stable, more conscious thought. And they may have to use it every 25 minutes in the beginning, and then it's every 45 minutes, and then it's twice a day, and then it's in their handbag for whenever they need it. And this is what I love, is essential oils, when they're in this purest form, as Marian explained, it's not a fad or a phase. It's actually what nature has always given us as a tool. We've always been consuming essential oils. We've always been inhaling essential oils. When we as humans used to pick fruits from the trees, when we used to gather our food, when we used to have more whole foods in our home, we would consume them. As our farming has deteriorated, pesticides, GMOs, and all of that, we just don't get as many pure essential oils coming into our lives with all the processed food. And so introducing essential oils, as long as you know they are 100% pure, is a way to remember, to remind the body what the body already knows to do and what tools it used to use in order to function optimally. So we don't think of essential oils as medicine. They aren't. They cannot heal you. They are not part of your medicine cabinet. However, the body has the ability to heal. The body has the ability to support itself when it's not well. And if we use essential oils to remind the body what it already knows to do, we are able to have a less toxic environment in our homes and in our bodies to do the best that the body knows to do.
Okay, well, that's just amazing. Now, Charmaine says, does essential oil help with depression? And I've got a friend who's battled to have a baby, had the baby, and is now so miserable. Her husband actually has taken off work to say, I've got to go look after this poor baby because this woman is she's just crying all the time. What can we suggest for that that's going to clear those pathways out of depression and just feeling sad when you shouldn't? She should be elated to have this baby. I said, you wanted this baby so much. What are you crying for? Yeah, I can't stop crying. You know, so how do you know which oils to give her to make her feel better?
So when it comes to newborns, I'm going to jump in on this one because I deal with so many pregnant women and all of that. First of all, depression is a real thing. And I really invite everybody to meet with a doctor first. I'm not a doctor. I'm just somebody who uses essential oils, helps other people use essential oils, and have seen amazing results and support. And what I love is if you are using a medication with your doctor, essential oils for the mind and for what you're asking can be used together. And that's the beauty of it because they are just natural. But first of all, make sure to see a doctor. But when it comes to supporting that mom, I would go around to her house with an essential oil for two different things. One, to help balance those hormones. Once you've had a baby, those hormones are all over the place, and it's totally normal for you to not be able to find a place where you feel grounded because, you know, I had a baby eventually, and as a pregnancy yoga teacher, I remember looking out the window and going, how are all these people walking around like normal humans with a newborn? This is not a possible thing. And so it's very normal in the beginning to feel so overwhelmed. So on the one side, we have oils that you can use while breastfeeding with a newborn straight after birth to just bring natural balance to the hormones as they come back to normal. So that's treating the underlying often cause to that feeling of overwhelm. And then on the other side, as I mentioned, the oils to help. We've got oils, a combination called Adaptive. We've got a combination called Console. These are combinations of proprietary blends of oils that help you to feel more grounded and to dull down that repetitive thought. And often for pregnant women, it's, what if I can't look after this baby? What if my whole entire life has changed and I will never be the same again? And all those thoughts can become quite heavy. And to bring levity and kind of, when I used to put this oil on when I first had Griffin, it's a hug in a bottle, and I cannot describe it until you really smell pure essential oils. It's a way of saying, I am supported in the same way that, if you hugged your granny or your mom, that inhale of their natural smell has this calming effect on you. It's the best way I can describe it, but it's literally a hug in a bottle. And it's been so empowering to speak to so many women who are dealing with that they can rest on some. We are very in collaboration with the medical field, so don't hear me saying medicine is bad, but if we can use less medicine and find natural support and then maybe move away from the medicine with the help of our doctor, it feels more empowering. So I hope that would.
Well,
And
I just love these things in the chat. Can it be used by males as well? Yes, males are people. We'll allow them to use some of our oil as well. Sometimes we forget that they're there. I know my husband always says, have you forgotten about me? I've done everything and forgotten about him. But I think men now are becoming, for the first time, my husband's 75, for the first time I've got him to use moisturizer. I said, your skin is looking so terrible. You've got to use something. So for the first time in 75 years, he's putting moisturizer on. He overdoes it. It comes out looking like a grease ball, but I'm just so happy. So men can definitely use them.
There's wonderful oils, Margaret, for skin as well. Speaking of wrinkles and looking, there are incredible oils that you can put in your moisturizer and on your face, or diluted with a carrier oil like jojoba oil. Oh, it's just, they are really for glowing skin, for aged skin.
Yeah.
Skin spots.
I have a bucket load of that. Just says for the elderly that are depressed, and I find the elderly do start getting depressed because for us, we're young. Speak for myself. We're young. We're out there. We're making things happen. We have an exciting life. Then I look at my mum and I say to her, Mum, what kind of a day have you had? Just an ordinary day, same as yesterday, same as the day before. And I think, what can I do to make her life more exciting? Okay, I'm getting a Netflix. I speak to her on FaceTime. What about oils for the elderly? Because and I think they would just enjoy the care and the communication.
And the comfort almost, isn't it? I think with the oils, what they do bring into your life is a serenity, a calmness, and particularly when you diffuse. So for the elderly, a beautiful diffuser and some oils with that, your frankincense, your serenity, which is an incredibly calming blend, helps with sleep. Balance for me is just incredible as well. And I know with my own parents, they diffuse their oils. Even my dad thought I was crazy.
If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for us. What do you say?
I think something also to mention when it comes to the elderly, we have many people on our team. When we talk about team, the way that these oils are sold are not on a shelf in a shop. So we're not talking about those essential oils. One of the things we do is when you come into doTERRA, it's the only way you can buy these oils, you actually join a community. And something that has been so empowering for the elderly is to feel part of a community that is almost like a village, where you tap in through these kind of Zoom calls and all of that. And we have a lot of elderly in our community that come on and sit with all of us as we discuss what we're doing with our face and how we're helping to bring a bit of light to a morning or help the brain to settle when we go down to sleep. And so unlike buying in a shop, buying in a community where just included, no extra thing, is coming together to share those ideas. And like on Facebook, like on that, where you can come in and go, hey, I've been using this, it hasn't worked, does anybody have any ideas? And it's just other people in the same age group and in the same place in life coming in and saying, hey, when I put this in my diffuser, it really helped with that. And I think the elderly, a part of it is feeling very alone. Children are all over the world these days, and then pandemics come and you can't even reach them or have them visit. And so part of the things that separates doTERRA is the coming together and the sharing of ideas and helping each other in real life, not consistently. And I think elderly really enjoy that community feeling as well.
Now, Stacey, you've seen the difference with essential oils in your family. How did it help your guys?
Unmute. Yeah, so I've just been in contact quite a lot with my cousin. We're very close. And a few years ago, she was a full-time working mom, had these 2 kids who were in the process of being diagnosed with autism. And they were pretty much just had a normal diet, lots of medication, and it wasn't actually helping. So she stopped working, and she pretty much, when I say went off the grid, went off the processed normal living grid, and she did everything in her power to like raise them up with no processed foods, no major medications, and she changed their world through essential oil. And she also uses doTERRA, and she swears by it because of the purity of the oil. And just watching those kids, having holidayed with them years ago to holidaying with them now, they're totally different children. And it's incredible because they used to have these outbursts and these wild moments. And as they would start, she would get the rollers and she would roll them on. And within 10, 20 minutes, they were different children. They were calmer. They weren't having their tantrums, outbursts, wild moments anymore. And she says that using essential oils has completely changed their lives.
Wow.
So it's so encouraging to watch.
They just put them on their skin and inhale them. They don't drink them.
And they use the diffusers. So they use the roll-ons and they sleep with diffusers. And another person who essential oils has completely changed their life is my sister-in-law. She couldn't get her kids to sleep through the night. So she bought a diffuser and she got the oils, and her kids are now sleeping beautifully through the night. And she swears that it is by essential oils.
Wow, that's amazing. Jess, what's your experience with essential oils been?
Yeah, just listening to all of this, I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is that we do definitely underestimate the power of smell. And listening to Dominique's little visual and the explanation of how close it is to that part of the brain. You can walk into a house and know what's cooking just by smell. You can walk into a room and there's something that triggers a memory of a holiday. Things that we don't really think of in our conscious mind. So I can absolutely see the power in it, and we know the bad effects of terrible smells on our health. So to the flip side of that, it would make sense that good, pure smells are going to do the opposite and possibly reverse those effects. But my experience, and it's a bit of a question really, when at my baby showers, my mom gave me a diffuser that acted as like a nightlight diffuser thing for the nursery. And then my firstborn came along and he wasn't a terrible sleeper, he was a non-existent sleeper. So obviously as a new mom, you go straight to Google all night, every night, lying in bed, trying to find solutions, and this essential oils kept coming up. But like we've said before, you can find arguments for anything on the internet. So as many articles I found that said use essential oils on your newborn, there were a lot of articles that said don't use essential oils on your newborn. So my question is, are essential oils safe for newborn babies? Because I think it'll be a common one.
Yeah, I think that's a really important question
for moms watching is.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I cut out a little bit. What you saw on Google is 100% correct. And this is what I love to say to people, because they say, I went to Google and they said, don't use essential oils on babies. And this actually is to talk to one of the people who commented in the chat as well. I'm going to reiterate this only because so my journey to using essential oils came from my fertility journey and then being pregnant with an immune compromised baby. So Griffin I was told by Dr. Luchik at Park Lane that he would be born immune compromised. And I had to find a solution for a newborn that wouldn't get in the way of his immune system. And how can you boost a newborn's immune system? Apart from breastfeeding, I was looking for those tools. And so I went on that journey that you went on, Googling, and it's like essential oils, never on pregnant women, never on newborns, never on any children under 5. And all of that is correct. And this is why. Because essential oils is the most adulterated industry, very often, 99.99%, when they produce lavender, they will always add a little synthetic lavender because our lands are overfarmed and all of this. And that synthetic lavender, the minute you add it to the oil, is going to give a child, an adult, anybody, especially even the elderly, most of all pregnant women, a side effect. And it's a negative side effect. It now becomes a fragrance and not an essential oil. Now, unless you're actually testing, so you can test, is this oil organic? Organic means free of pesticides, nothing added, nothing added to this oil. That would be organic. But what you need to know as a mom with a child, as a pregnant woman, is this oil exactly as it appears in nature, the chemical makeup? Therefore, you have to test from 65 different angles, not just organic, to make sure it's exactly as it appears in nature. Because if you distill that essential oil and you remove one of the parts of the chemistry, now it's still pure, but it's not as it appeared in nature. In the distillation period, the chemistry was disrupted. It is still not safe to put on your baby or on your pregnant woman and all of that. So this is where doTERRA comes separately. And, you may think as you sit on this call, they're pushing a company. No, we're pushing a pharmaceutical grade essential oil, and doTERRA happens to be the only one. 12 years of never ever, of always publishing, transparent, for mothers like me and you to go on and get the test up and say, okay, this is exactly as it appears in nature. So I'm going to set out a warning because it is important to me. When we talk about essential oils and we tell you how amazingly they work, if you were to use ones that you bought at Discam, no offense to Discam, but if you were to buy any that you didn't know where they originated from, they would come with that warning. It actually says not to be used on children. And that warning is correct. They aren't sure if there are additives in here. And so while it may make your house smell nice, it will not be safe to use on children. So this is why we have become quite specific. doTERRA is the only pharmaceutical grade. So now we go from a pleasant smell that works for me, I'm happy to let my body fight the toxins, to a therapeutic grade that will actually help my baby sleep, be safe to put on their feet if they are having disruptive things. And that's what separates the two. And
now
so
we've got the theory that's coming. What about parrots and other pets? And if you've got the essential oils in the house, you don't want it burning the poor dog's nose and the parrot keeling over. So I take it that if it's a pure one, it won't do that. But if it's got those additives added, it might happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So for pets, here's the rule. You can definitely use these oils with pets, but pets have a much higher sense of smell. So never put a diffuser on in your bedroom with your favorite little dog that you sleep with and close the door. Because if that oil becomes too intense, pets are more intelligent even than husbands. They will leave the room if they don't like the smell. The pet will get up and walk out the door to relieve themselves. So for your cats, your dogs, you can use doTERRA essential oils, but you want to leave the window open, the cat can get out, the door open so the dog, because if they become overwhelmed, they will make the intelligent choice, unlike humans who kind of sit there.
Okay, so Marion, what was your journey with essential oils? How did you get into it, and how's it affected your life?
Yes, well, so I don't really have a backstory as such. It's quite interesting. I come at from a sort of a different kind of angle. my very lovely mum actually gifted some oils to me 2 years ago. I've always been on the natural path, I will say that. So I have 2 teenagers now. I've always turned towards natural solutions, steering away as much as possible, or steering towards the natural. So when the doTERRA essential oils came into my life, I started to use them. And the more I used them consistently, the more I started to see the benefits. So I do suffer from asthma, so does my daughter. So the support it gave me there was unbelievable, including my allergies, which are very closely linked. But what has really been incredibly powerful for me after using these oils for consistently now for 2 years, is the emotional benefit that has come about. Okay, so just the anxiety, we live in this crazy environment, isn't it? And things are being hurled at us left, right, and center. And I do at times get really overwhelmed, like many of us sitting on this call, as a parent particularly, and as a business owner, and as this. So many balls are juggled in the air. I found that these oils I diffuse every day. I take my regular oils in my routine, routinely, day in, day out. And I have found the emotional benefits. So the grounding, the leveling, just being able to not be so reactive to situations and be much more measured. I have 2 teenagers in the house, guys. So, you can please be a little sympathetic here, right? The reactive is for real. But that's what they do. So I don't only use them. My kids use them and my hubby. And for me, that's been the most incredible journey, is the emotional side of it. To be very
now, where did you start? How did you know? Okay, you were gifted the first time. So us as novices now, we need to start. We've heard about lavender, we've heard about lemongrass, and that's about it. What would you get? A selection of them? Would you start with one and then try others and see how it affects you? How would you start?
What we recommend is that you start with something called the top 10. So this is kind of the doTERRA essential oil toolbox in a way. It's got your very, very solid oils that work for a myriad of things that you can turn to for sleep, for anxiety, for the allergies, the skin, you name it. You can get something from those oils. And that's kind of your grounding, your base that you then build up on. And like Dom was saying, you get a lot of support. So it's not like, oh, here we go, cheers, here are your oils, enjoy them. Yay, I hope you have fun. That's not how it works, okay? There's a lot of support, knowledge that we can give you and that you can tap into. It's really important that you have that. Otherwise, they just sit in your bedroom in the box and, you'll say, oh, but these things don't work. And we're like, but hang on, you've got to open them, smell them, use them. For me, consistency is the key, consistency and routine. And that's something, it's a journey. It's an empowered journey.
Yeah, so we sell them in the top 10 kit, and it's been designed that anything that arises in your family, we would be able to address. But we couldn't teach you all of that when you first got them. It would be impossible. That's how many things they address. And so that community that I spoke of before is everything. It's like living in a village where the elderlies had, used this for this and this for this. And as things come up, from athlete's foot to urinary tract infection to sports-induced hard to breathe and all of those, I love how this isn't medicine. So they can be used proactively to support the body in what the body knows how to do. My biggest reason why I started using these and doing this is because my son, as I mentioned, was immune compromised, and he started school when he was 2. And I just used them every time. He got every snotty nose and every runny tummy and everything like every other kid. But as a mom, I could see it. I could see the glassy eyes, the postnasal drip, and I had this toolbox that I could reach for so that it never progressed. So he's never been to see a doctor in his life. He's 7 now, never had allopathic medication. And it's because I had these tools, because those infections that we need antibiotics for are often secondary. So I love to empower moms to have these tools. And if you don't nip it in the butt in the beginning, you can always go see your doctor. They're there. But if you can get it in that first 24 hours, you often don't have to go any further. And that's what we love to empower moms with that information.
Okay, so we're talking about moms and that, but what about older people? Mary Jean says, what about dementia? Because dementia is becoming more and more prevalent, and in younger and younger people. I mean, people much younger than me are getting dementia, and you think to yourself, oh my goodness. And as soon as you forget something, I put my keys, oh my goodness, I hope I'm not getting dementia. And what oils can you use for that type of thing?
Shall I take it, Marion?
I'm just answering something in the chat.
Okay, good, I got it.
Thanks, Phil.
So we have two main oils that I would, now I'm going to three main oils. And these oils do is they actually work on the receptors in the brain. And so, for instance, if this is the life cycle of a cell, all cells in our body, regardless of what their job is, have a life cycle. They're born, they come all the way around, and then they die. Okay, that's how it works in our body. And so we have a combination of oils. It's a little bottle called DDR Prime. And how DDR Prime works is it actually supports the cell in completing that journey successfully. So often with things like memory, all of these things, it's because you're getting older and your cells are almost not doing the job they were designed to do. And so finding an oil that actually supports the body. And so we would use this oil on a daily basis. We would take it internally because doTERRA essential oils, the same way we research for babies, can you take oils internally? You will get the answer no all the time. Why? Because if you don't know what's in the bottle, please don't take it internally. So if I'm talking about taking oils internally, I'm only talking about ones where you transparently know what's inside it. And so there's an oil that you can take internally. So we put it in a little capsule and you take it morning and evening. And it helps those cells, so those cells in your brain that are not synapsing together, therefore memory loss, therefore that your brain just feels like it's not working as well. These are amazing oils to support the cells whose job that is. Then we have another oil called Copaiba. We use these two together. And this is all about the receptors in the brain. So helping those receptors to continue to fire better. So children who are, so when we talk about children who are battling with speech, let's say, it's actually our elderly that are also having a very similar battle because they just can't get the brain and the thought to come together, if you like. And so finding these oils that help that connection, that synapse fire at the level that they're looking for it to fire. And again, what do I love about it? The same way as for a child, for an elderly person, using tools that don't put, so not medication, all medication has side effects. So we're not anti-medication, but we want to take the kidney, the liver, all these organs that are working overtime in older people because we are dealing with more toxins from a longer life. We want to make sure that the tools we're reaching for are allowing those organs to not be overwhelmed. And this is where oils are incredible. They are able to come into our body. For elderly people, we use these oils massaged into the soles of the feet. They've got the biggest pores. And within 2 minutes, that oil can be found in the blood. And within 20 minutes, it's reached every cell in the body. With those the body is able to metabolize them quickly without putting that overdue stress on the kidneys, the livers, and those other organs. And so that's why they become great tools for that age group.
Okay, so tell us now, so we're keen now, we think this is amazing, we want these 10, the top 10. How do we go about getting them and how much do they cost? Because it all boils down to money at the end of the day. We're going to get these oils, they're going to get the top 10, and then we're going to experiment, we're going to try this. I mean, my husband keeps forgetting stuff, so I'm going to say, you try this oil, have a drop of it, he'll think I'm going to poison him. Let me put this on the soles of your feet, you'll think I've gone stark staring mad. But, so we order the box of 10 oils, they arrive, and then what do you just start experimenting with them, or does it have labels on it? Use this for this,
yeah.
this.
So we don't do any experimenting. And then my biggest tip for husbands is, sometimes when they're walking around the house and then you can see they've got anxiety and they're stressed. I never went and said, here, try this small bottle of magic in a bottle. I would just put it in my hand, rub it together, and then I'd walk up and give a nice hug. And you just stealth the husbands in the beginning. They don't even need to know. So we do oil stealthing in the beginning. Much, much easier. You put the diffuser on, they don't even need to know. So how do you get started? We actually have different, so while the top 10 is definitely the way to go, we're very conscious of that empowered first start. So we actually have a big top 10, which comes with a diffuser. And then we have a mini top 10 at a different price point that doesn't come with the diffuser. Because guess what, guys? Your hands are a diffuser. So if you were to take 1 drop of oil into your hand, rub it, deep inhales, you are getting, remember, in 2 seconds, it's reaching that part of your brain. And so while a diffuser is an amazing tool in a home, these are your tools. You can start with the smaller kit. And then we even have an even smaller start here and build your own, because if you don't have a full family with your kids going to school and you're just, you know, an elder person where it's just you and your partner or just you by yourself. So like with the oils, everything is an empowered choice on how you get started. And then when your oils are start, who you decide to buy them from. So in this environment, you would be buying them from me and Marion. That group of people put together the education. So in our team, we gift you a bag with all the bottles, the roller bottles, the dilution oil and everything. So that when your oils arrive, you have that little gift from us and you go, oh, now I know what to do. With it comes a little PDF that goes, every family's main things they need to address are this: immunity, digestion, pain and tension, anxiety and stress, easier breathing. As I've listed those, everybody's nodding, because there is no human, whether they're elderly or a little child, that doesn't have those exact same things they need to address. And so we get you started there in having your tools ready for if you have tummy issues, pain and tension in your body, immunity and breathing, respiratory, your skin, you know, flare-ups in your skin, acne-prone skin, you know, your eczema, your psoriasis. How can we help the body support those? When I list those things, every home is like, oh, we get those. Oh, yes, we definitely get those. And so once you start there and you feel very solid that you're getting these amazing results there, yes, then in your own time, know your time, your decision, you can then address other things with oils that come up, because you know how to address the things that every home gets. And so that's how we work with you. You're never alone. It's like having a private yoga teacher to adjust all your postures according to your body, your family's needs.
Yeah, now in our stores, we do have what we call smelling machines that put out the smells. And we find that if we want to sell a lot of washing machines, we put out a smelling machine that smells like clean sheets. If we want to sell a lot of ovens, we put out a smelling machine that smells like apple pie. And when you go into, I mean, we were just saying, Glenda says in poetry, you've got that smell. Abercrombie and Fitch, you've got that smell. When you go into certain places, you've got that smell. The hotels now have their own smell made especially for them. So in your house, if you had to put together something that would, when people come into your house and say, oh, this is just so serene, it's a lovely place to be, what oils would you mix for that?
The choices, Margaret, the choices. I think it depends. There's, if you want a happy feeling, upliftment feeling, there's peppermint, something called wild orange, which makes, it's like you've opened a bag of oranges. It's just the most delicious. There's all kinds of beautiful things. The go-to ones would be from your top 10, your peppermint, your lavender, and your lemon. There's always a wonderful aroma to have in your environment. It depends. If you've invited people and somebody's not feeling great, you could diffuse On Guard, which is a very powerful immunity blend. So you're On Guard and you'll breathe with a little drop of peppermint or something. It would depend. That's why the top 10 gives you an incredible amount of versatility and choice. And you're not sort of like one thing, okay, now what? Now what do I have to do? I've got to go and get another oil. You know what I mean? They're there.
Okay. Now, Gisela says, what happens if the person can't smell anything? Some people have just got no sense of smell at all. What happens then? You just put it right under their nose.
So the benefits of the oils to the system can still be absorbed and used, because we have topical benefits from these oils. For instance, our respiratory blend called Breathe, yes, when you inhale it, it's going into the body and it's actually opening the bronchi. This is your eucalyptus, your laurel leaf, your peppermint. Those smells. It's a combination of those oils. But here's what's been very interesting during these times is that that breathe oil is actually oxygenating at the cellular level. And so each cell is getting visited and supporting the body to be more oxygenated, because this current situation is a vascular respiratory thing. So the smell, yes, it helps with the brain limbic part of the brain connection in terms of mood, anxiety, and stress. But the body is under stress too. And so using your oils, whether you have a sense of smell or not, will still see benefits. Now, with this current situation, I have so many clients who have lost their sense of smell. And this has been such an amazing tool to use pure nature to retrain and bring back. Again, as I talked about, the loss of smell is the synapse disconnecting. So it's actually almost like, the way that part of your body, the cells that are supposed to smell. So we work with those to make them, the synapses come back together and bring back that sense of smell that's been lost. So we would encourage somebody who can't smell to start using these pure oils for their body benefits. And what we've seen is that sense of smell, it's called smell training, can actually come back.
Now, I know, because I used to get terrible headaches, and I just put eucalyptus oil around the back of my neck, and I just got that from Discam. Some eucalyptus oil, I need some for the back of my neck, I'm getting a headache. And I can actually, when I feel the headache coming, I put the eucalyptus oil on, and I can feel the headache going straight away. Do you think that's psychosomatic? You just, I think it's going to happen, so it happens. Or do you think it really is the oil doing that?
I definitely, so often headaches come from lack of oxygen. So often lack of sleep comes from lack of breathing. So often when kids can't sleep, the mom says, I want lavender, I want things to make them go to sleep. But we actually say, put it with breathe, because if people can breathe better, they can sleep better. And so that combination, you think, so also the cooling effect of eucalyptus releases the stress, especially where the skull meets the spine. So you put it there at the back of the neck. And so that cooling feeling, the reoxygenating has helped to clear that foggy brain, head tension. So no, I do not think it's psychosomatic. The beauty of essential oils is it's very visceral. It's not like cross my fingers, hope this works. Like it works or it's not working, try a different blend, Yeah.
So I see you put that out of your arm, rub it together, breathe in. Is that the way to go, would you say?
So I like using the parts when I don't want to rub it on my feet. So if I'm about to put shoes on, this part of my arm has no hair. And so it's to more sensitive bits of skin. And so I find it's absorbed better. So for my people who are dealing with, repetitive thoughts, or my kids at school, they're not going to take their school shoes off and do it again. But I've got little 6-year-olds who are taking the oil for concentration. It's called Thinker. They take it to school and they take it out their pencil bag and they just do that.
Looks like that.
And they can feel the effects that quickly without having to take. So this part of your body, the soles of your feet are all great places to absorb the oils, the pulse point. Yeah.
Now,
This is so incredible.
So many kids are taking Ritalin today. How much, if you bought that Thinker and put it on, do you think you could get rid of the Ritalin?
That's a very, very pointed question. I would never come and say go off your Ritalin, but I deal with so many moms where the teacher has suggested it and the mom goes, hey, let me try this for 2 weeks. If the teacher notices a difference, we may avoid doing it. I'm saying if you try it for 2 weeks and you still need to go on Ritalin, well, at least you gave it a try. But if you could avoid it. For me, avoid any medication if you can find something that nature. But here's the important part. It's got to work. Your child is disrupted at school for their own sake. A child that is disrupted at school is often a more intelligent child, a more creative child, a child that needs to be stimulated in a different way in this day and age. And so I love that oils, as I mentioned, are not dulling down that child's self, but rather just redirecting it. So if you're a mom and you can give me a week, 2 weeks before you put in that prescription, what have you got to lose? But if you need your prescription, it's always there. And this is what I love to do. It's empowered health. It's not doctors are bad. Doctors are very important. And if it helps your child concentrate more, go with your doctor if that feels comfortable for you as a mother. But if you want to try something else, and it works. That's the key, guys. Not airy-fairy going to the forest, but it really has to work.
Margaret, I see there's a question there about people with cancer from Gisela. I just want to mention about, Dom, I think I would like you to elaborate on this, and the hospitals that doTERRA partners with and use doTERRA oils for the emotional support in the cancer wards. Would you like to elaborate on that?
So one of the amazing things about doTERRA and why I chose it for my family is they collaborate very closely with doctors. So this is not like, you know, doctors are over there and we're over here. So all the people who we work with, who we do the oils with, are medical. And when I talked about us being pharmaceutical grade, that means that Johns Hopkins University, the medical university, are now using only doTERRA oils to train doctors. So this is an exciting, this only came about 2021. And so this is a very exciting move for essential oils, and why I'm here to educate people, because you're going to see it blowing up. You're going to see more about essential oils. Now that life cycle of the cell that I talked about is often where cancer shows up, in the disruption of the life cycle of the cell, an abnormal cell life cycle. And so if we can use oils to support the body to have a full and normal life cycle of the cell, I'm going to reach for that tool while I'm working on other things. And then along with everything, whether it be autoimmune, whether it be any diabetes, all these things that come up in our lives, we are always dealing with the stress of it being in our lives, whether it be fertility, whether it be IBS, all of these conditions that we feel, which include cancer. The body can always be supported, because if we can lower the stress, we have a better body to work on the healing, because it's the body that heals, not the medicine and not the oils.
Yeah, and
so I want
the autoimmune is, sorry, Stacey, your turn. We just carried on. Your turn.
I want to really, please, do you know what might help with high blood pressure? Like, do you have kits or something that might work with that, or a combination blend, or just one essential oil?
Yeah, so we have a few ways that we can work with. When it comes to high blood pressure, we want to find out what that person's, this is where that, like, working with someone, as I said, like your private yoga teacher, to really talk about, and then we're going to take those oils and we're actually going to put them down the arteries, we put them on the heart, and we actually have a little roller that you keep on you to work with blood pressure. So yes, definitely, we work with a lot of people. It's a common issue, and how wonderful to reach for that tool that can work with high blood pressure medication, because you want to always be careful with what you're doing. You know, people say, I just take all my vitamins. If you take too many vitamins, your body is under stress getting rid of those vitamins, peeing them out, or whatever, how we get rid of vitamins. So we are always working to keep the body in a less stressed state, even if it's all natural and all, but yes, blood pressure is definitely something we work with, and we work on those.
Sorry, can I jump in there? It sort of backs off what you just said about too many vitamins. And to add to Andre's question, is there such a thing as too much oil? Can you overdose on oil? He says somebody put a little bit of each on his arms, and that evening he was knocked out.
Without knowing which oils he used, I don't know what knocked him out. So I'm going to start there. When it comes to the oils, the body metabolizes them quickly. So, for instance, with a mom dealing with or any human dealing with supporting an immune response, meaning they've got a postnasal drip, the snot's coming, all of that, we would say to you, apply them every 45 minutes. Why? Because we're not taking medicine, waiting 3 hours for the kidneys, the livers to have their time to process. So during times where things have flared up, you can use oils regularly. When it comes to internal use, we are saying 24 drops in a day. Now, I've been using oil since 2014 on a daily basis internally. And if I do all my routines, my citrus oils in my water, I love turmeric, peppermint in my coffee. I love to take oils to support metabolism and help me have energy, because I don't want to be drinking coffee all day. If I add all of that up, I never take more than 8 drops in a day. So you don't, 1 drop. So for instance, in this bottle is 250 drops. To get a very good daily body detox, helping the body function, I need 1 drop of this in a glass of water, pretend it's lemon, every day. 250 drops in a bottle, 365 days in a year. You can see how far one bottle can go and how you don't need a lot when it's this pure. You know, when you use your diffuser, no more than 4 drops. That's going to make these oils last 6 months to 9 months in the big bottles, you know, the bigger kits. And so when people understand that level of purity, we teach them less is more. But when you're dealing with an acute thing like immune system and all of that, more often. So when a mom, so for the person who fell asleep, when a mom's dealing with a child that doesn't sleep, I'll target you here. We're going to put some oils on the soles of the feet before bed. That's going to go into the body, be absorbed into the body and help to just clear the busy mind, the busy body, and calm it for sleep. And then we're going to put the diffuser on for. A diffuser can go all night. We're going to put it on for 20 minutes while you're getting everything ready for bed. And when you walk out the bedroom, you actually put the diffuser off. 25 minutes is enough time for it to reach the vein and calm down. Now you've got a full diffuser, you've used it for 20 minutes, then your baby wakes up in the middle of the night. You can go in and while you're settling them, you put the diffuser on. If oils that are pure can change the way the brain is feeling in 2 seconds, you don't need to run that for 4 or 5 hours at a time. You can just put it on while you're dealing. That 4 minutes you were in the bedroom is enough to inhale and settle the baby. And this is where when you're being helped and using essential oils correctly, your oils last forever and a little goes a very, very long way.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Wow, well, that was an incredible session. I have to tell you, I've learned a lot and I really have. Jess, just a quick wrap up from you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is speak to someone. I think, again, you know, you can walk into a chemist, a disc chem or whatever it is, and every day there's a new brand, a new oil, a new vitamin, whatever it is. And I think there's specialists out there for a reason. So speak to a specialist and get the right thing for you and your family. And yeah, it sounds incredible. So thank you both so much for your time and for educating us and spreading the awareness. Absolutely, yeah, our thing is you don't know what you don't know. So now we can use this to better everybody's lives, hopefully. So thank you so much.
Stacey, a quick wrap up from you.
Yeah, thanks so much. What Jess said was perfect. And I loved your opening statement, knowledge is power. But unless we use that power, it really means nothing. So now we need to go away and use this great information and enhance our lives even more, because the aim of the game is to have a healthier, happier life for all of us. So please feel free, everyone, to contact us. If you need any advice on anything, we can direct you to Marion and Dominique as well for all your essential oils doTERRA needs. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow, that was amazing. Well, I've got to thank you, Marion and Dominique, so much. You've taught us such a lot today. Marion, a quick wrap up from you.
Well, thank you very much for having us. And we are privileged to share and raise awareness around the essential oils that we love. And I hope that it has brought some joy to you guys today and that you bring them into your life, because really they are going to make a difference.
Fantastic. And Dominique, from you, a quick wrap up. You're very brave to put your cell phone number there. Wow.
So this is what I do full time. I feel like I'm a yoga teacher, but I can reach so many more people. I'm a yoga teacher for oils. It is something that guidance is the most. So my job is actually not selling essential oils. That's not my job. My job is empowering mothers the same way I got to feel empowered. And so the same way I would empower people to feel, as a pregnancy yoga teacher, to feel ready for birthing, I now empower people to reach for tools so that they need to visit their doctor less. And this is where I really feel lit up, is that we actually do know. And if we can help you to reach for tools to support your lives, that's what I'm here for.
That's what we're all here for. Stacey, who we got next week? For those, before everybody starts clicking off quickly, we've got 2 more minutes.
Next week, we have Ashley, and she is going to be discussing dreams with us. So really interesting. Yeah.
It's so interesting. You know, we always say we live on 2 different planes, and I'm one who never usually dreams. But if you wake me up suddenly, I will know I was in the middle of a dream. And then you write it down really, really quickly. I always have a pad next to my bed. When I wake up, it was gone. So yes, a very exciting dreams and how they work and what you're thinking about, what it tells you about what you're thinking about. That's amazing. So thank you so much to Marion and to Dominique today, talking to us about oils, essential oils. Can we drink the same oil that goes in the humidifier? Yes, but only if it's essential and pure and
Exactly. So rather, yeah, rather contact us just to be sure.
Don't want that to happen. Yeah, and so Dominique was very brave to give you all her cell phone number. Thank you, Dominique. We're definitely going to be coming back to you for those essential oils, and we're just going to give it a try and see. I mean, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least you've tried. And I think for somebody like, I was just thinking about my husband, who I'm with all the time. He's been through so much in his life with dyslexia and with breathing and with asthma, and just what oils have made that change in his life. I think they would have actually. So I think it's never too late to start, and now's a good time to start. So I'm going to give it a start, and he won't know what hits him. He always wonders after these sessions what's going to happen in his life this week. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to give it a try and see how it goes with him. So thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you to all of you who joined us. I hope you enjoyed the show. And next week we're going to be talking about dreams. Your dreams, what do they mean? Join us next Monday at 9 o'clock. Thank you, girls and guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.